Quentin Tarantino World Cup, Quarterfinal 4, Pulp Fiction vs Jackie Brown. Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown, released only 3 years apart from each other, hold entirely separate positions in the construction of Tarantino's filmography. Widely regarded as one of the greatest films of all time, Pulp Fiction is frequently found on AFI Top 100 lists, currently holds the 8th position on IMDb's Top 250 films, and won the Cannes Film Festival's Palme d'Or in 1994. Jackie Brown was received well upon release, but failed to achieve the incredible heights of its predecessor. It can certainly be classed as underappreciated, but it still uses the formula often responsible for making Tarantino's films as utterly engrossing as they are, meaning its status as a great work of cinema holds true, despite its inferior market value. Pulp Fiction's ability to move from a seemingly innocent, wholesome conversation into a pulsating action sequence with genuine tension is unrivaled. Features rarely discover ways to encompass both styles, especially over such a short period of time, and this makes Pulp Fiction's plot particularly eclectic and wildly unpredictable. It almost comes across as an anthology, with characters crossing over into each other's scenes, leading to a well-connected set of characters offering different sides of their personality across the story. Compare that to Jackie Brown, and once again the variation Tarantino brings is glaringly evident. The plot, a closely constructed drama, hides its characters' secrets and motives effortlessly, opting for a slow burn rather than the frequent flashes of action Pulp Fiction thrives on. Choosing one over the other is essentially asking which style makes for a better story, and that plaudit has to go to Jackie Brown. Constructed from Elmore Leonard's original novel, Rum Punch, the basis of a well-crafted story ensures Jackie Brown raises and relieves tension in all the right places. Pulp Fiction works in its own right, but its plotting and storyline aren't as clever or as engaging as what Jackie Brown offers throughout. Jackie Brown's excellent plotting creates a successful environment for its primary trio of characters, performed by Pam Grier, Samuel L. Jackson, and Robert Forster. Each a calculated, often calm personality, their actions are inherently linked to the film's plot, smuggling money from Mexico. Unlike the similar crime film Reservoir Dogs, the audience has vision and insight into every stage of the process, and this directorial decision lends itself to an open style of filmmaking, but Tarantino chooses to leave the characters open to each other's betrayal, often coming from unexpected angles. Their determination to reach individual goals is often no less despicable than the clear actions of those in Pulp Fiction, but the lower levels of emphasis pose a different form of questioning. The structure of Jackie Brown's characters asks, why are these decisions made? In a way Pulp Fiction doesn't even offer mere moments to think about. And that is in part because Pulp Fiction has so many fascinating characters. From Uma Thurman's Mia Wallace to Bruce Willis as Butch, a character often forgotten in conversations about Pulp Fiction's greatest personas, show how a character can gain an introduction and a major stake in the film particularly quickly. The situational setting of where each character is met and where they end up is varied, unpredictable, and outright wild. Very rarely does Pulp Fiction show only one side of a character, opting to use everyday conversation as a build-up to its most rousing moments. Ultimately, this style makes for more memorable personalities, with Tarantino bringing the best out of many of the 90s greatest film actors. The core within Jackie Brown is excellent, but Pulp Fiction uses its characters in such a specific and brilliant way, it has to take the point. Unlike the majority of the matchups in this tournament, the visual competition between Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown is relatively low. Neither is particularly well known for its eye-pleasing cinematography, with only a little more emphasis placed on the production design. Jackie Brown spends much of its time in bars, car parks, and shopping malls, with very few added extras, giving it a vision of normality, an idea Pulp Fiction stays away from. There's a surreal edge to Pulp Fiction's most memorable set pieces. From the diner to the bondage-filmed pawn shop, these are settings with a visual impact Jackie Brown doesn't even try to attain, whether it utilizes a different cinematic style or not. Jackie Brown doesn't even have moments of overwhelming gore, an idea Pulp Fiction taps into multiple times, specifically those with Vincent Vega looking backwards on the road. Without such an emphasis on visual greatness from either film, it's a strange point to give out, but Pulp Fiction takes it, giving it the lead for the first time in this matchup. Does the rest of the script matter when you can boast some of the greatest film lines of all time? Most of them contain potentially offensive language, but "Oh man, I shot Marvin in the face" is one particular line everyone can appreciate. The answer is, of course it does, but it's rare for a film script to transcend the page in the way Pulp Fiction's manages to. It has Terminator 2 levels of quotability, and that goes a long way to ensuring the longevity of a film's reputation. Its script is especially good for showing how Pulp Fiction is able to ramp up its action in an instant, offering wholesome, relatable content enabled with brutal insults and threatening comment. But again, this directly opposes the angle taken by Tarantino with Jackie Brown. The film is slow on pacing, and that means it's slow on dialogue. There's a broader mix of the everyday conversation and characters mouthing off to each other, succeeding as an entire script rather than ever pinning its hopes on particular lines hitting the right chords. Jackie Brown is perhaps the best script of the two, but the impact Pulp Fiction has had on pop culture and the way Tarantino's features have been received for the rest of his career cannot be ignored, and for that the script is hugely responsible. Pulp Fiction is strong enough in its less exciting moments to ensure it wins with its particularly aggressive and memorable one-liners, but Jackie Brown certainly offers a greater constructed story with particularly effective lines of sharp dialogue. This does mean that Pulp Fiction advances into the last semi-final spot and will challenge Inglourious Basterds for a place in the final. There's merit in any argument suggesting Jackie Brown is Tarantino's most underrated feature. Death Proof is certainly his most underseen, but there's more of a reason for that, existing in a particular niche with an inability to offer anything more to a wider audience. Jackie Brown is an incredible piece of drama with a wonderfully adapted script and a genuine thirst for character development. The standard of acting has to be tiered with some of the best of any Tarantino film, and it shocks in a way Tarantino hasn't really tried to recreate since. Jackie Brown has as much rewatch value as any Tarantino film, and with it leaving the competition so early, proves once again just how deep Tarantino's filmography actually runs. To move on to the first semi-final, click the link on screen. There's also a link to the previous quarter-final, in case you missed it.